How's it going, YouTube? We got another locals gameplay here, this time against Ivankov. So Ivankov is starting off with their Perona. They're searching the top 5, rearranging. Since Ivankov's going first, they're going to get to 7 Don first, and they're going to be able to do the Ivankov Luffy play on curve, which is very strong since they cheat out an extra 7k on board. The 5 Don turn, they typically play a Crocodile, so that's a 7k, and then their 7 Don turn, they cheat out 2 more 7ks. So that's 3 7ks on board before I can even get Odin out, so it's going to be a pretty tough to crack that board if they do pull that off. So Kinemon, turn 1, summon out a Raizo just because there's no Okiku. Raizo's still good as a turn 1. You have a body on board and it can net me some card advantage. So what's in my hand? I see a 7-cost Kid, I see a Bonnie, a Law, 2k counter, a Pooh. So they're just going aggressive. They attacked with leader and then attacked with the Perona with the rest of their Don. I had to counter out of that one because you don't want to be too low. Once they get all their 7ks on board, it's going to be pretty hard to defend against all those attacks. So I have the Bonnie. I'm going to use the Bonnie to search. Now my Raizo is active and I can get that extra draw when it attacks. I see here 2 killers, so I'm just going to take one of those. I have a Toki in hand as well. I draw into an Izo. So still no Odin. Doesn't seem like there's an Odin in my hand. 4k to Perona. He might just dump his whole hand just to reduce his hand size. So you see there, he 3k to counter it. I have 2 Don open, nothing really to do with it. But I still end up clearing the Perona, just to make it harder for them to clear the Bonnie. If I didn't have the Bonnie on board, I would probably just leave the Perona there and just go face. But either way, he's going to counter out of it. 5 Don turn. He has a Mihawk in hand. I saw an Avila, so he's got a 2k counter. I just saw a Crocodile. It's probably the move just to summon the Crocodile. Yep. So now he's got his first 7k body on board. I'm at 6 Don. I'm just going to choose to be aggressive. You want to get their life down as soon as possible, just to be able to contend in late game. So I attack with the 7k with the leader and then 8k with Raizo. Now he's down at 3 life. He's at 7 Don, so if he does choose to summon out the Ivankov with the Luffy, it will be a problem for me. So I do see Ivankov in his hand. Not sure if he's going to choose to go that route. I don't see a Luffy. Looks like, so he's attaching 1 Don to clear the Raizo. So he's not going to go summon the Ivankov, which I think might be a misplay. Just because your strongest asset, I think, is playing all your guys on curve. Seven to leader, I'm going to have to take that. And I think I did just draw into the Odin. I have a bunch of cards in hand. He plays out a Doflamingo, search. Not search, but rearrange the top 5. This will help with his leader ability. Just so he knows when to counter and when to play out that Ivankov. It's 3 Don open. He still has a lot of cards in hand, so that just means his leader ability is not going to do anything yet. He does choose to summon out an Avila, so he's 2k counter or less now, but that could just be him trying to build the board as well as discarding cards from his hand. So my 8 Don turn, I'm able to cheat out the Odin for 7 and then also play out a Toki. We're both at 3 life. With the Odin on board now, I can kind of manage his board. But if he does choose to go all face and then just summon out the Ivankov Luffy, again, I'll be in trouble. So 5k to leader, it's an easy counter. I do end up trashing one of the Tokis. He's at 9 Don. Crocodile can still swing. I think he just has the Avila on board just in case he wants to bounce a blocker. You can always dump cards with Avila and bounce a blocker. He could dump out his non-counter cards, I guess that's what it's good for, since he doesn't have new common land in play yet. So 5k to leader, he's just going to go wide. 2k out of that one, so I'm out of 1ks. And then he plays the Ivankov for the rest of his Don. And the Luffy. So he's only got 2 cards in hand, one of them was a Mihawk. And right now he's deciding, a Mihawk and an Inazuma, the blocker. So right now he's deciding whether or not he wants to activate the Luffy effect to pitch his hand. Having the Mihawk in hand I think is really good. Just because next turn, if he just goes all face, if I summon out a blocker or anything, he could just Mihawk my blocker. And he just play really aggressively. I can't win next turn, so I just have to try to manage the board. He's got 3 7Ks on board and 1 blocker. So I'm just gonna do some board control. I swing at the Avila, he doesn't counter out of it. He probably wouldn't anyways. I put 1 Don onto Odin, 9k to the 7k Crocodile, just to see if he's going to chuck both cards of his hand to protect it, or if he used a blocker. He chooses to use a blocker, which could still mean he could counter out of this one, but I'm going to try it again. And he does let it go. And I have a bunch of blockers on the board, so I think I just have to play out a blocker just to survive that Luffy attack, and at the same time spread my board a little bit. So I go with the Momo search, find an Okiku, 4 Don left, might be an Okiku and a beige. Yep, beige for 1, and 2 blockers I guess. The Okiku, I guess I could save to combo with the Law. Probably what I'm doing, playing play extra safe just in case he has an extra way to bounce both blockers, and then just loads up on the Luffy to take 2 life and then potentially go for a game. So 5-2 the Momo, that's gone, so he has 2 attacks left. He only has 3 cards. He hasn't been chucking stuff. He hasn't been able to draw extra cards. So he bounces my blocker. That's fine. He bounced the 1k counter blocker, which is not ideal because if he bounced the beige, I wouldn't have been able to counter out of that one. And I still wouldn't have been able to activate the draw effect because there's only 2 on board then. So here I end up chucking out the killer blocker for the extra 1k counter. He Mihawks my beige, and as his board is really crazy. And he draws 2 because his hand is empty now with leader ability. So his board is pretty crazy. I'm at 10 Don. I think I have to clear that Luffy. So I'm going to 9 to Luffy. If he counters out of it, I think I'm okay as well, just because I know he doesn't have anything left. He lets it go. I'm on a 5 to leader. Gotta get those pokes in early. Counters out 1 to 1k. Not sure if that was the best play, because he does have 3 attackers on board. If he could get that blocker up next turn, he'd be in a pretty solid position. I'm going to restand the Odin, considering whether or not to swing, but I don't think I need to. And then I summon out 2 Okikus to go wide. My thought process here is if the Odin dies, I think my chances of winning are super slim. At least this way, I can go wide enough in the next turn I can poke twice or clear board. Alright, so his turn. He's got 2 cards in hand. He has 3 swings, so I can't lose. This turn, at least. 1 down for Perona. Just going to rearrange the top 5. We're 9 down left. He should just be going aggressive. Maybe put out a blocker if he has. He's going to 8 to leader. I'm just going to take it. And he summons out the promo law and passes. It doesn't do anything. I think I need 6 cards in hand, but he was just getting rid of his cards so he could draw 2. So now I have 4 swings. I could potentially go for game. I don't think I'm surviving next turn. I don't have any blockers in hand, or enough blockers in hand. I know I have the 1 law, but he does have too many swings on board. He has 4 swings. I need to be able to block 2 of them. So I'm going to go for game this turn. I have 4 characters that I can attack with. Oda can attack twice, so I technically have 5 attacks. So one of these Okikus can just be 5k attack, just draw out our card. Now I'm attacking 7k with Okiku. So I'm attacking with Okikus first, just in case he does have any triggers. There are a couple triggers that affect 5 cost or less on the blue side. So the Okikus are both tapped. They already attacked, so nothing to worry about. He takes the first life, so I have 3 attacks left. They all have to go through. He has 2 cards in hand. The less I put on, so he actually uses his card. He should trigger a Sables to bounce the Okiku. So if I didn't attack with the Okiku first, one of them would have been bounced and would have been 1 attack short. And now that he has 1 less card, I do 7 with leader, and then I can just double swing 11 with Odin, and he has to take them both. And that's game. Thanks for watching.